Hello and welcome to another episode of Chaos at London. This is Mage Edition, but in a somewhat unique way. Tonight we find ourselves with um, our illustrious mage, Carlotta Giovanni, who has made her way back to Italy for a meeting with her family. So Carlotta, you've gotten off the plane. There were, of course, the typical uh, ghouls waiting for you to offer you a ride. Um, I'm guessing you flew privately because it just seems like a good idea.
Yes, sounds fine.
Okay. Yeah, they'll be waiting for you. Uh, help you with your bags, of course. Guide you to the car and start driving to the estate. Um, Probably just kind of making small talk in Italian. Um, One of them will kind of turn around and say, "So, how are?"
Sorry, you're breaking up. See, it's good to be home after a few months away.
Sure, it is. Is everything going okay over with the family, with our English family?
Oh, most well, yes. Quite pleased with how things are progressing.
Good, good. And you do like these are just kind of goals, so they aren't going to ask too many questions. They're just kind of they like to be updated and all. Um,
Are they of the family directly?
yes,
They're,
yeah.
they're not me. Okay, they're not me. And how have things been here? Have I missed anything important?
Well, things have been alright. Our good uncle got a little upset a month or so back, and a little bit of a cover up had to be done, but you know how it is.
Hmm. I cover up here.
Mm, I say cover up. Letters, and he'll kind of turn around with like an implied quotation. Will say gifts had to be sent out to prevent people from talking too much. But
Hmm. Well, it's good to hear it was resolved satisfactorily.
oh man, has anything interesting happened over there while you've been over there?
Oh, ponders for a moment where to start. Well, the mortal government's in complete chaos. I'm sure you've heard of Brexit even here. As for other affairs, I don't know. I hear the Tremere are poking around, keeping themselves busy, and hmm, I did have a very curious and strange run-in with a some snake creature spawned of the Setites.
I try not to fuck with them too much. Yeah, man.
Not quite. Their interests don't often coincide with ours, so I'd rather leave them to their own sphere.
Looks like we're pulling up on the estate. They'll pull around, pull up to the door. One of them will get out, open your door for you, while the other starts grabbing your bags from the trunk.
Sophia's personally carrying a small bag / document case that she's kept with her.
Right.
It's not been. She's got other baggage with clothes and stuff in, but she's got a document bag with her, like a suitcase.
The top priority stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha. They'll help you in. The one that was kind of talking to you in the car will. So I'll go get Uncle Ignacio so you can talk to him. And you remember Uncle Ignacio? He's been one of he's not quite top, but he's somewhat higher up in the family hierarchy.
Okay.
Usually one of the ones that gives briefings and stuff.
Right. He's an elder, I take it.
Yes. I can't remember what the proper term is. I guess. I'll let it look. Yeah, he's a Anziano.
Okay. Not something ranks, but okay.
Yeah. He'll leave, and after a little bit, Ignacio will walk out to meet you in the front hall. Carlotta, it was a pleasure to see you again. He'll kind of open his arms up for a hug.
Gladly accept the hug. A pleasure as always, Uncle. It's good to travel, but it's also always good to come home and do a kiss on the cheek.
Of course, I trust London's been treating you well.
I can't complain. It's been an eventful few months. I've met all sorts of strange and interesting night folk.
Well, you'll have to tell me all about them. I trust the Milner over there hasn't been too forward or doing anything he shouldn't be doing.
I've not taken too much interest in supervising them, but I'm not aware of any misbehaviors. I know they're struggling with some competition. I met some skeleton-looking individuals chasing prospects, but they've mostly been on call and been able to fulfill any small requests when I've had them, so I can't complain.
That's good. Very good. I was reading a report that I got from one of them. We apparently ran into a snake-like creature.
Yes, I was how can I put this? A mage of my acquaintance was flaunted his powers in an attempt to raise a cult about himself. As part of this, he decided to teleport to Giza, to the pyramids there, and suffered an attack by this undead snake creature, which then followed him back. Fortunately, he had a pet werewolf on hand to kill it, and then left a body lying around. I thought it best that we acquire it for study. It's odd. It was a giant snake, but its aura was that of an undead, but not of a Cainite. I had, if we have no other use for it, I've asked them to be kept on storage. I have some plans for it in the future that was a little more study of the arts. I might be able to use it to scry upon whatever thing made it.
That
Which,
might be very useful, as long as you stay subtle about it. Don't
yes,
want to open war with the Suddites,
no.
as entertaining as it would be.
Well, we honestly had nothing to do with it. It was another mage who went to Giza and it was a werewolf that killed it.
Plausible deniability. That's my favorite phrase.
We have the claw marks on the body if they want to question it.
Mm-hmm. Does seem like a good idea. I'll send word to them and make sure they keep it locked up safe.
Mm-hmm. Most of the werewolves of London seem to have departed. Actually, they went off on an adventure to the Amazon forest to fight a. All reports a dragon and haven't come back.
What kind of like? He's kind of making the face that I am like a dragon.
Apparently, I didn't think they existed anymore, but apparently, or maybe it's just another giant Setite serpent.
Like big, probably 30 feet, maybe. Scales, possibly breathes fire.
So,
The dragon.
so the werewolves are for the moment out of the way. I'm aware we have some extended connections to their sphere. I met Ali Duncern, who's of their blood, as some of their Duncerns are. I learned that forces opposed to werewolves, creatures called Femorai, and possibly corrupted or dark werewolves have taken one of their place of power in was it Hampton Court? The Royal Park where Trump visited the week later, actually. I was we were rather thinking with Ali's connections to that side and my acquaintances with some of the werewolves, if they come back, we might be possible to play off both sides for our profit, applying them with equipment or supplies or whatever they need, gun running, into crude terms.
Might be useful. Just be careful.
Well, I can leave Ali to run one side of it and be nothing but helpful to the other.
Definitely seems like it's been quite an eventful time for you in London.
It is. I've learned a great deal. I've expanded my knowledge of mages, of the different traditions that they have, of wraiths or vampires. I even found a mage who confessed to having worked with the Sabbats and was prepared to teach me about them. That was interesting. A mage called what's her name? Yennefer said she worked with the Sabbat in New York when they were laying siege to the city. But the real reason that prompted my return now, rather than at some other point, puts the suitcase on the table, unlocks it, was this. I heard accounts of a Italian lich, a mage who had found his own path to immortality. The mage was destroyed by people I've met some months ago, having lived since almost as old as the family has been in that world. But I figured out what the others hadn't. Someone was unknowingly sitting on his library. This is a book from his library. This is the spells and rituals he used to achieve that state. A whole new form of undead.
Interesting. Oh, kind of like he'll hold his hand out for it.
I'll hand it over.
He'll kind of flip through it. Older Valentino.
Do you know the name?
Sounds vaguely familiar. I've never met with the man, but I think there's someone who had. Bukarati, that's who it was. That's who dealt with him, supposedly. Or heard about him. Bukarati is a man from New York, raised in the early 20s. Not very subtle, but he has his uses.
So, I gather this Valentino, he was once a mage of a tradition called the Cult of Ecstasy that worked their magic through passion, desire, experiences, ecstatic experiences. And as I said, he was, he went, he had great ambition. He ventured the spirit world. He sought to slay even the gods themselves, and was eventually brought down. But still, now I have the crucial text here from his library. I have access to the rest of his library. It is of value. There is a mage there. I do not think he is of an impediment, but his home, the home of this former lich, does have a powerful spirit guardian. That makes me wary until I know the extent of its power of simply claiming the site by force. But for now, I have access to the library in any case.
See what information you can glean from it. I'll show Augustus this when he wakes up. He might be very interested in reading about these rituals. He'll just kind of like close the book with one hand, tuck it under his side. Is there anything else that has happened recently that might affect things for us?
For this moment. I have not been involved with the vampires in London, so I cannot speak on that matter. I briefly met Maria when she arrived. I'm glad she's arrived to take charge of those affairs. What else? I have established various allies and friendships and acquaintances among the mage community. There is much. They have their own politics. They have their own affairs. I'm attempting to work with some to secure a site which I hope would be of value to us in securing prospects. You may have heard of in the news of Glenfell. It's a large tower block where there been flames a year ago. Huge catastrophe of many deaths. And it's now become a place of power for mages. I have some mages who I have guided into wanting to seek a node to establish a new home for themselves. I'm trying to steer them into claiming it, Glenfell. It will benefit my own practices in itself, but I'm hoping how would you put this? The resonance will be most fitting for our ends. Oh, I did have the benefit of sitting in a very large trial the mages conducted, one of their own, who'd blown up a chantry of the Order of Hermes, um, claimed to be of House Dinay, and spoke greatly of the Tremere. I must confess, my knowledge of the time is not sufficient to follow much of the trial, but I was intrigued when they started mentioning the Tremere.
Hmm.
I know Ali has made contact with at least one Tremere of London. I am looking to find how we can best profit from this. Again, if we have links to both sides, we can potentially try to play them against each other, or
No,
let the conflict unfold and then send in the cleanup crew to claim the spoils.
he'll nod and say, as always, remain subtle about it, and I would suggest you advise Miss Dunsarn to do the same. Promises still being upheld, of course.
Of course, but I mean, if the Order of Hermes wants to go to war with Clan Tremere, that's hardly our concern.
Of course. Unless they find out Navarre's was the one that was the catalyst for it.
Mm. Yes, but it sounds like their conflict is already in existence. Is there anything else? No, I think that, as I said, the main matter that brought me back here and now, was the matter of this talk of this Italian lich and of that book. I did not want to have any hesitation. What the law in there I felt was too precious to not be brought here with all haste.
It's definitely a good decision on your part. If you find evidence of any other mages who have done similar rituals, you can bring them or their bodies here. Sure, it'd be very interesting research topics.
Not yes. Yes, the matter, as you can imagine, is not it's not one mages casually discuss. I'm sure most have little knowledge of, but well, yes, I'll see what I could do. Perhaps I could find out what happened to the body of this Valentino. I had mentioned his essence was contained in a phylactery, but I'm told that was dismantled.
Yes, ask around, see if you can find out anything.
Mm. I've had
How are these?
the other contact I've not yet mentioned. I had some run-ins with the fair folk in London. Some of them were making a great deal of nuisance for everyone.
In what way?
They enshrouded a good chunk of the city in mist, and mist enchanted to make people forget what they saw in there. This covered some 2 million people. This was not in any way subtle. And yeah, I've seen them elsewhere in combat call up, blatant magical effects with little regard to the consequences.
That's worrying.
And well, they are the fair folk. They are inherently tricksy and deceptive, and yeah, they've tried to get me drunk. They are very keen to offer their wine to people. I would hope we all know the enough old stories about that danger. Um, London is also plagued by some spirits, not of the underworld where we walk in, but of the other parts of the spirit world, spirits that manifest the seven sins, or possibly eight, of the Catholic Church. I've met with three of them, supposedly: pride, envy, and desire. They seem a nuisance for, well, all different groups there. I know the fair folk and the mages have issues with them. Pride is always the sin of mages.
The sin of many of us, not just mages.
It is good if we are. Well, I suppose recognizing one's pride is the best defense against it. But yes. So, and different groups are working against them, but it seems a long and slow moving conflict against them. Again, I cannot see a way which we can profit from that other than by making sure we don't get entangled in it.
Sometimes it's best to just let things unfold, influence what you can. And how are the Shadowlands over there?
Oh, with everything else, I have not had spent much time poking around London. We never got to play the scene. So yes, perhaps that should be my next project now that this book is returned, is investigating the Shadowlands. Do we have any records about the Shadowlands of London that I should read in advance? These are cities.
Not sure. You might ask Milner over there if he has any. I don't believe we have any here. But if I find any, I will get them to you.
Yeah. You're quite right. I should ask the Milliners and see what they know. It was one of those things I kept meaning to get more acquainted with, but the Milliners had specialists to handle wraiths, so they did not need my help with that, and I had more, not some more valuable things to do in my time, but things that I was able to do with my skill set, which they could not, which it was better for me to devote myself to.
Oh no. Very interesting. So, how long are you here for?
How long do you need me here for?
Oh, kind of shrug.
Well, if I can stay a few days and catch up with the family. It's not. It's good to stay in touch with people, and I have nothing too pressing waiting for me back in London beyond reading the rest of the books that whatever from in the library that book came from.
So stay a few days, perhaps talk with some of the other family. Yourself. Have a nice little vacation. Don't want to get too stressed.
Well, it's good to be back among family, Uncle. It's they can't, yeah, spending too long among well, not just outsiders, but all kinds of weird and wonderful things that can bump in the night. Fair folk and werewolves and spirits and goodness knows what else. It's good to be back on solid ground.
Mm-hmm. Back in one's element, as it were. Right. Well, why don't you go up and rest for a while? How you're reading through this and preparing some documentation for Uncle Augustus.
Indeed. do take care, Uncle, and give her a kissy goodbye in a Giovanni way. And
You have to specify what kind of Giovanni works. Depending on the kind, it could be really weird.
well, in a
In a not weird way.
Well, in a way that an attractive young daughter of the family is kissing her friendly uncle.
Yeah, okay. Saying they have inbred as a flaw for a reason. Help you with your luggage up to your room. He'll kind of snap his fingers, and a pair of wraiths will manifest. Help you take your baggage to your room. I think. Is there anything else you really wanted to do in this scene?
I don't particularly think so.
Okay.
If there's other stuff I want to do with the Found Blue Book, but I don't. Don't think it's particularly. It was more just make sure this book gets home safely because it's of massive value.
Yeah, kind of. All right, cool.
And if there's any other general pointers or goals or missions or things they want to hand to me while I'm here, but again, you don't have to do it right now.
Right.
And no, okay. Do you want to leave it there?
Sounds good. Thank you for playing. Thank you, any future watchers, for watching. This has been another episode of Chaos at London, Italy edition. And remember, don't make it weird. Just don't make it weird. That's it.